Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues and fellow development partners at the Inter-American Development Bank, I send you warm greetings from Manila, Philippines. Happy Pride Month. I would like to extend a special greeting to my dear colleague Fabiana Jorge, the U.S. Alternate Executive Director at the IaDB. It has been a pleasure getting to know her even before our confirmation. Together with the World Bank ED, Adriana Kugler, we have great champions on the board of the multilateral development banks who are dedicated to advancing the cause of inclusion, particularly for LGBTQI+ individuals. It is truly an honor for me to be here today, celebrating Pride and sharing with you some insights into the work we're doing at the Asian Development Bank. Having spent over a year in Manila, the home of the ADB, I'm hitting my stride and striving to make a meaningful difference. This is not my first time here, as President Bill Clinton appointed me as the alternate U.S. Executive Director, and for a period, I even served as the acting U.S. ED. The experience has been undeniably exciting and yet undeniably daunting. The geopolitics of the region, coupled with the re-engaging role of the U.S., have shifted considerably since then. The challenges we face today are more complex and urgent than ever before. Allow me to take you on a personal journey. In 1960, when I was just 6 years old, my grandmother bravely smuggled me out of China to Hong Kong aboard a boat. Raised and educated by nuns, I was given the name of a Catholic saint. It wasn't until I reached adulthood, after 21 long years, that I was reunited with my parents. Most of my youth, up until high school, was spent in the Asia Pacific, giving me first-hand insight into the struggles and challenges faced by the majority in this region. Eventually, I came to the United States, pursued my education, and proudly became a citizen. During the administrations of Clinton, George W. Bush, and Obama, I served my country in various capacities, retiring during the presidency of Donald Trump. During my 5+ years of retirement, I embarked on a journey to explore the world, visiting remote villages in rural India, Vietnam, Laos, Burma, and far-flung cities in Siberia with my camera. Through these encounters, I met villagers and locals, capturing their portraits and experiencing their unique stories. Additionally, for the last 4 years of his life, I've had the privilege of being Congressman John Lewis's photographer and videographer during his annual congressional pilgrimages to civil rights sites in Alabama. These pilgrimages invite members of Congress to walk in his footsteps and etch the struggles of his people into their hearts, never to be forgotten. Being so close to this giant of a man, a living saint in our midst, was an incredible opportunity for me. Congressman Lewis spoke of love, exuded love, and led with love. He also emphasized the need to make good trouble, but necessary trouble, and to build a beloved community. His words profoundly resonate with me, even in my current role at the ADB. When President Biden nominated me to be the U.S. Executive Director at the ADB, making history as the first openly lesbian and LGBTQ+ person of color ambassador in the United States history, it marked the first time I was invited to bring my whole self to a job. While I had never concealed my identity, I was never actively encouraged to express it fully. I performed well, but only a fraction of my true self was present. This new role compels me to speak up, represent and support our LGBTQI+ community across the Asia-Pacific region and back home in the U.S. I cherish this opportunity, yet it instills fear within me. I am afraid of falling short, of not being able to deliver everything our community needs and deserves. This fear is particularly potent in many countries within our region, where archaic criminal laws and discriminatory practices persist. Currently, 17 countries in Asia and the Pacific still maintain criminal laws against same-sex relationships. Now let me touch upon the Asian Development Bank and its distinction from the IaDB. With a 55-year history, the ADB provides financial assistance of approximately $25 billion annually to 49 countries in the region. The US and Japan stand as the largest co-shareholders at the ADB, which includes a total of 68 member countries. I'm sure many of you are acutely aware of the multiple crises affecting the world, but especially within our region. As countries struggle to recover from the pandemic's onslaught, we now face the spillover effects of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, resulting in soaring fuel and food prices. We witness extreme cases like Sri Lanka, where these effects have plunged the nation into a political turmoil. Moreover, climate change poses an existential threat, severely impacting millions who are already living in precarious conditions. In the past year, I have traveled extensively across the region, particularly in the Pacific, where people's homes stand merely 6 feet above sea level. Even with 1.5 degrees increase in global temperature, many of these island nations will face imminent destruction. Hence, the work we do carries undeniable sense of urgency. Recent estimates revealed that the LGBTQ+ population in Asia ranges from 5 to 20%, with some suggesting that our LGBTQ+ family members in China alone number around 70 million. Extensive research indicates that LGBTQ+ individuals often find themselves at the lower rungs of the economic ladder. In my recent visits to each country, I have made it a point to meet with the LGBTQ+ community, and I can personally attest to the power of these facts. Now, I would like to take a moment to shed light on 3 significant areas of work that have consumed my attention since assuming my role at the ADB. These areas are crucial to advancing inclusion and creating a better future. First and foremost, I must acknowledge the commendable steps taken by the ADB towards fostering inclusion. In October 2022, in Bhutan, I had the privilege of witnessing the outcomes of a consultative process that led to the formulation of the Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Framework, or GESI, within ADB's South Asia Regional Department. It is truly inspiring to see how this framework identifies sexual orientation and gender identity as systemic disadvantage and recognize the untapped potential in engaging in policy dialogue and operational responses. Let me highlight some examples of projects we are undertaking in South Asia. In Bangladesh, we're promoting access to services for transgender population in Dhaka and Sylhet. In Bhutan, we have a project aimed in improving services through strengthening civil society organizations, with a focus on persons with disability, older people, and people with diverse sogiesque. In Nepal, we have projects empowering people with diverse sogiesque through inclusive solutions, when we're also working on improving the collection and analysis of gender equality and social inclusion data. We're making progress because our member governments are actively requesting support. I firmly believe that this approach will be replicated across all departments within the ADB. Secondly, I have actively advocated for the inclusion of sogiesque, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, and sex characteristics, protection in the ADB's updated safeguards policy statement. The ADB safeguards policy is currently under review. And our engagement with the bank and the LGBTQI+ community has been significant. Here, I want to credit the IaDB safeguards policy, which was approved by the IaDB board in 2018. The IaDB safeguards is a standalone gender safeguard with generous language regarding sogiesque protection. We're supporting the new safeguards policy at the ADB to accomplish 3 objectives. 1, identify risks to vulnerable groups, including sogiesque population, and develop and monitor mitigation plans once identified. 2, conduct meaningful consultations with the LGBTQI+ communities where projects pose risks to the community. And then 3, ensure that there are no carve-outs for countries with anti-homosexual laws. We understand that there are 2 countries among your borrowing member countries, but there are 17 countries in our region with such laws. Thirdly, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of establishing connections with international and regional networks. Over the past year, I've had the honor of participating in the Asia Conference of International Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Trans, and Intersex Association, ILGA Asia, in Ho Chi Minh City in 2022, and more recently, I delivered the keynote speech at Sydney World Pride in 2023. These experiences provide first-hand insight into the challenges faced by grassroots organizations tirelessly fighting for LGBTQI+ rights. In April 2023, I was heartened by the warm welcome extended to me and the IaDB delegation at the World Bank Group International Monetary Fund spring meetings in Washington, D.C., where IaDB's commitment to SOGS inclusion shone through in every meeting I attended. It serves as a powerful reminder that our efforts extended far beyond the IaDB and that we are part of a global movement striving for greater inclusion and acceptance. Lastly, I want to emphasize the crucial importance of collaboration, particularly with the U.S. government. The USAID LGBTQI+ coordinator understands the critical significance of collaborating with IaDB and other multilateral development banks to further its commitment to SOGS inclusion. We are dedicated to working together, considering the unique social-cultural context of our developing member countries, and aligning with the legitimate aspirations of governments, LGBTQI+ civil society, and individuals who should never be left behind. Together, I'm confident that we can achieve extraordinary feats and forge a world where every person is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity, to foster a prosperous, resilient, sustainable, and inclusive world where no one is left behind. Once again, I extend my deepest gratitude for your unwavering commitment and dedication to the work we undertake. Let us make most of our time together and ensure that our efforts truly serve those we are here to support. Thank you.